discards 99 kgs of food annually. So generally per day, you actually generate 0.5 kgs. Other people misinterpret that data. When you say generate waste, we're not talking about when you go to the washroom. We're talking about the waste you generate when you use different items. Yeah, someone misinterpreted that data from the water sector. So I'm just keen to ensure that we have context on the data that I'm presenting to you. So we have a rich panel today that will be here with me. So we have Miss Anita Shah from Greenstem. A round of applause and welcome to the stage. We have Mr. Dominic from Biogas International Limited. Dominic, I saw you on the far end. Please come. We have Dr. Linda Davis from Giraffe Bioenergy. We have Ms. Mukami Mutigu from Green Regen Organics, Mr. Jos Reinhardt from Akili Green, and Mr. Bennett Wesonga, Project Manager at Practical Action. So you're welcome to the stage, Doc. You're in the conversation and in here. Welcome to the stage, Doc. Yeah, so these are my panelists today, and we're going to have a rich discussion today. So as Bopink, we did a study in Kenya and Uganda. We were looking at some data, and we realized that just looking at the waste sector in particular, and in organic waste, sorry, I'm moving around a little bit. Just looking at the organic sector, we realize that there are different elements that we're looking at. If we're looking at the aspect of transition of SMEs towards circularity. And we notice that 56% of some of the SMEs are not aware of laws and regulations. So we see that's as a hindrance towards the transition to circularity. We also observe that 18% of them also reported that have limited policy access in terms of getting access to the table to discuss on issues on policy. We also discovered that 63% highlighted poor access to technology, and also aspects on certifications and standards. This was the highest at 78%. Within this study, we also have recommendations that we'll be sharing soon. This study will come out shortly, and we'll be sharing with you as part of the interesting participants of this particular conversation. But to begin with, let me start from my closest right, Mr. Bennett. Tell us a little bit about yourself and Practical Action in about 60 seconds.
Thank you very much. My name is Benon Wasonga. I'm working with Practical Action as the project manager, leading initiatives towards circular economy or focusing on organic waste. I'm based in Kakamega, where we have a 4-year project that is funded by Danida, that is focusing on converting organic waste into organic fertilizer. We are doing this in partnership with a commercial partner, Regen Organics, who is represented here by Mukami, and with support from the county government. Thank you. You'll be getting much as we move forward.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Dominic Kahumbu. I am the director of a company called Biogas International. We are the developers of a technology called the Flexi Biogas technology. That it's unique in that it runs on all manner of organic material. So we are not dependent on dungs like the conventional technologies. It also means that where it comes to feedstock for the digesters, there is volumes, huge volumes of municipal waste in all of our towns, all of our housing units of the slums. So there's no shortage of feedstock for biogas. We also have gone into the area of looking at invasive species, such as water hyacinth, cactus opuntia, mathenge in northern Kenya, So all of these, what are considered nasty plants, are actually extremely viable and important natural resources. So we are flooded with energy in this country, in the tropics, in Africa, and there is so much potential. We've also gone to the level of now using the gas for value addition. So we're not just cooking, we're doing everything. We're doing the drying, processing milk, running generators. There's nothing you can't do with the biogas. We have a stand at the entrance, so when you come in, Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. Very nice to be here at this annual conference. It's not my first time, but I'm very happy to see you all again at this 10th time. My name is Jos Reinhout. I'm from the Netherlands. I moved to Kenya this year, and together with Susi Ranjala, she's over there, we started a consulting company called Akili Green. Akili Green, you can find us online, of course, please do. We do several things. Organic waste is one thing. Other things is carbon, very much related to that. Policy stuff, research trainings, and consulting for Dutch and international SMEs and bigger companies. When it comes to organic waste, I would suggest we stop talking about organic waste because, as my neighbor already said, it's actually a good resource for many products and many adaptations. So let's not call it waste, but let's see the value in it.
Pleasure to be here. Linda Davis, founder and CEO of Giraffe Bioenergy. At Giraffe Bioenergy, we are on a mission to integrate large-scale cassava agriculture and ethanol cooking fuel to serve communities that are transitioning from charcoal and firewood. I look forward to introducing you to the cassava slaughterhouse. When the cassava comes into our biorefinery from our farms, nothing goes to waste. We do not have waste streams. Everything from the farm to the biorefinery is valorized. We get value out of all of that. In a nutshell, our primary product is ethanol cooking fuel. Many of you would have interacted with Cocoa Networks and others who are distributing ethanol in urban and peri-urban community. So that's the primary product. But the cassava has a lot more value that I'm excited to share with you in my remarks.
Hi, everyone. My name is Mukami Mitugo. I lead financial strategy and partnerships work at Regen Organics. Regen Organics, we use a circular economy model to convert urban organic waste into regenerative farm inputs. So we collect organic waste from hotels, pack houses, agri-businesses, all these people who produce fruit juice and vegetable oil. So all their waste, we collect it. And then we convert this into either organic fertilizer through composting or insect protein through black soldier flies or biochar using pyrolysis. And then all these inputs, we supply them to local farmers who then apply them into their land as well as feed their animals and then see an increase in yield of between 20 to 60%. We also quantify the emissions that we avoid by diverting waste from landfills and processing it in low emissions ways. And then through that, we generate carbon financing, which is what we use to subsidize the cost of our products to farmers.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Anita Shah, and I am the founder and CEO of Greenstem Products Limited. As we all know, plastic pollution is a major problem in Kenya and globally. It's expected that by 2050, there will be more plastic in the ocean than fish. And we are trying to solve this problem by using organic waste such as wheat straw and sugarcane bagasse. Yeah, it's got some bagasse here. Wheat straw and sugarcane bagasse, and turn it into an organic food container. that is free of trees, toxic chemicals, or any plastic at all. And we are now scaling up our operations and are in the process of harnessing 10 tons of ag waste every day, both for our boiler and for making the packaging. We are producing 3 million pieces of packaging a month, and are a true example that Kenya and Africa can actually lead the change and be a local solution to a global problem. So we're really proud to be the company that is leading the sustainable packaging revolution in Africa and hopefully very soon across the world. Thank you.
Thank you so much. A round of applause to the panelists. I was waiting for the last person to introduce themselves. And as I mentioned, my name is Ebenezer Amari, a Senior Program Manager at Bopink. Great. I mean, looking at the panelists here today, we've heard of different innovations. Dr. Linda, you're talking about a cassava slaughterhouse, you said. That was interesting. That captured my attention there for a bit. I mean, I haven't had someone talk about cassava in that way. So, I mean, just looking at the data in Kenya, of course, we know that Kenya generates about 24,000 wastes per day. If you're to look at the what we call the characterization of waste, organic waste is at about 44%. Right. So let's start with you, Linda. Where do you see the greatest opportunities for us to be able to transition and stop looking at, as Reinhard was saying, waste to a resource in Kenya?
No, great question. So the first thing is exactly what conferences like this try to put in our psyche, that we are not talking about waste, we are talking about resource, right? So that's the first thing that we need to do as a country, really understand that once a product gets made, you know, what is that entire life cycle? And I believe that change begins with us. And as we heard in the plenary as well, that Ubuntu component. So if everybody did their part in their little or their circle of influence, I think that would be very valuable. As I said, for us at Giraffe Bioenergy, we are doing something very bold in my view. The first thing is cassava is not recognized as a food crop in Kenya. So we are looking to see how we can use quote unquote wasteland, right? So that's the first place where we're looking at a resource differently. So we work in semi-arid areas. In this area, in the interior of Kilifi County, rainfall has reduced 50% of even dismal rainfalls from what we're getting from the meteorological department. So that's quote unquote the first wasteland that we're looking at as a resource. And we're looking around us and figuring out what can we leverage to bring this resource that is wasteland for all intents and purposes into productive use. So we leverage the Galana River for irrigation, right? We have depleted soils. So I'll be leveraging this company to help us restore the soil fertility, and then we grow the cassava. So all in all, Imadi, I'm just going to say it's around understanding that each of us has an opportunity, right? So I've already talked about we are bringing waste lands into productive use. So with all that input, now you have the product. We're not just going to produce one product. It's a matter of changing our mindset to figure out every single stream, I like to use byproduct, every single stream that comes out of what we're doing, how can that be valued? Okay. So I guess my point is it's a mindset change, which is what we're starting to do with a conference like this.
Mindset change right there. So you can pass the mic to your left until it gets to Dominic. So we spoke about, keep passing it until it gets to Dominic. We spoke about resource, right? And I'm going towards technology, Dominic. So you have a technology that is transitioning waste. Okay, Reinhard says, and Dr. Linda, let's stop calling it waste, resource to energy, right? How easy is it to get the organic resource to be able to generate energy? And which particular resource in this case? I mean, I'm posing because I keep changing the word waste in my mind with resource. Every time we need the mind change, right? So I'm starting it from here. So how easy is it, and what is the calorific value for some of those items? Where do we get the highest potential?
Yeah. So where to get it from? I mean, if you look at any housing estate, if you go to any slums, you've got these mini dump sites where people are they're so used to throwing their garbage there. So those areas, if you allow the garbage, or a skip bin, if you allow the garbage to build up into large volumes, it's very, very difficult to manage because the stuff at the bottom is very manky and smelly because it's rotted in there for a week or so. But if you manage it on a day, so the target market is, we already have numerous waste pickers who are already collecting the glass and the plastic and all of these kind of resources. That what they're doing is they're selling it to aggregators who are stockpiling it and then selling it at much higher price to the mainstream recyclers. So our model is to engage the waste pickers to collect their glass, their plastic and everything and bring it to our recycle center where we will stockpile it for them. So we won't buy it. It still belongs to them. Once it's stockpiled into high volumes, we'll then sell it to the recyclers at the high value. I mean, the difference here is the aggregators are buying it for around 5 to 7 shillings for plastic, and then they're selling it between 45 and 50 shillings. So that money will now go to the waste pickers. In exchange for that service, they have to bring all the organic waste as well. And they have to bring all of the diapers and all of the face masks and all of the mitumba and everything else. They have to empty that skip on a daily basis.
Okay.
So when they bring the organic, it is the bulk of it. You've got two types of organic, inorganic. You've got the soft, lush stuff that digesters love it. And then you've got the fibrous stuff, the banana leaf, sugar cane and what have you. That goes into compost making. So getting the resource is not a problem. The workforce is already there. It's just a matter of changing their mindset because they are so used. I think it was the CS who said that the waste pickers, they're not in waste picking for the environment. They're in waste picking because it's a means to an end. They need money. A lot of them are homeless. A lot of them just need cash. And so they don't really care about the environment. Yeah.
A moment there, Dominic. You mentioned that it's not difficult for you to get access to the resource, right? Yeah. I know Dr. Ayub here has been speaking about separation of waste at source, which is always a challenge. So how do you deal with that? Because I know one of the greatest things that hinders valorization of waste in this context is how we interact with the, I keep saying waste, resource, okay? I mean, we keep the way you handle it, right? So you find that, and this is how we find that there's a pile in the what should have been engineered landfills and now becoming dump sites. So how do you deal with that?
So what we've got is where the waste is being dumped on a daily basis. You don't let it go to our objective is to kill the dump site by starving it. The less waste that goes to the dump site, eventually no waste will go to the dump site once you set up numerous collection centers. So what happens is we have a table at where the waste is being collected, or where the waste is being dumped by the residents. And that table is just a square table, not an expensive thing, but with a black plastic sheet that goes around it like a conveyor. Mm. And you just put the waste onto it, slide it along, and then the waste is separated. Within an hour, you can separate a ton of waste very, very easily.
Good. Now, pass the mic to your right.
Let me just answer the other question. The difference in one item, the question you asked about the potential.
Yeah.
Cow dung, believe it or not, has got the lowest calorific value and therefore has got the lowest biogas potential. So you need 20 kilos of cow dung to produce the same amount of gas as you need 1 kilo of kitchen waste. So there is about 10 to 20 times more potential in human food waste than there is in animal dung. Chicken waste is second best. Green waste will give you about 5 to 6 times more, but food waste will give you between 10, 15, maybe even 20 times as much.
Yeah, thank you, Dominic. Okay, you can pass the mic to your right. I know you're not advocating for people to waste food, but you're just saying that is where we have the greatest potential, right? Awesome. Benson, I know your organization works with communities, and I want to follow up on the conversation that we've been having with Dominic on change of mindset, right? So what are the initiatives that you have been executing to ensure that we have a mindset shift, especially when we're coming to handling waste or resource, separation of waste or source? How are you looking at it as a resource, for example, within communities? How do we leverage on technology such as what Dominic is offering to generate energy, as an example?
Thank you very much. I'll call it, you'll allow me to call it waste for today because that's what we're used to.
Carry on.
But as that's part of the change of mindset, so I'm going to adjust. So our model is slightly similar to what my colleague panelist was saying. You realize in this project we work very closely with informal waste pickers. And as I mentioned, the project is based in Kakamega. Kakamega is somehow a rural town where the waste management system has not been clearly structured or fully developed, and mostly waste is managed through private companies. So having come in, we've been having initiatives through key sensitization sessions for the public, especially in regards to waste separation at source. So we've used different channels in order to at least achieve or make some milestone in regards to waste separation at source. And one of the channels that we use are the informal waste pickers, because our target is the household waste, organic waste, that is majorly the kitchen waste. So we've formalized these waste pickers into groups, and we've mapped the town in a way that they serve different key areas of the town. So we've been able to do sensitizations to inform the neighborhoods and the communities to register for waste collection services. And as they go around doing the normal collection, they also take part in educating the community in regards to the change of the mindset in regards to waste separation at source. We're also using other channels like the community health promoters, who act as very key agents in terms of promoting community interventions. So we've had a number of series of trainings with them and build their capacity in a way that during their day-to-day work, they're able to educate the community in regards to waste segregation and the need or importance of doing this at source. So we keep doing a number of things through different channels. We go to community forums, the normal chief barazas, and at least since the inception of this project, we've seen some progress. And I believe with concerted effort, partnership, collaborations, we are going to make it as a project.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Quite good interventions there, dealing with the community, which is really appreciated. Now, I'd like to have a conversation a little bit with Reinhard, yours. So picking up from where he left on the discussion on engaging the community on different interventions, he spoke about barazas, spoke about different platforms where you try to share information. What do you see as the greatest hurdle or challenge in working with communities to shift for the mindset? I know you started off by saying, let's call it a resource, right? Where do you see the greatest challenge with working with communities, and how can we take some lessons to better improve on how we interact with them?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. The company I have in mind is EcoDuru. It's a black soldier fly farm. So what they do, they convert organic waste or organic resources into animal protein to be used as chicken feed or fish feed. And they have this organic fertilizer as a byproduct. But by converting this organic waste or resource into these products, they prevent methane from being produced. Because if waste is being dumped, it produces methane, right? It's a very strong, very powerful greenhouse gas. So this is a very good solution to prevent this climate change. Other people in this panel, they actively produce methane to use it as biogas, right? That's another option. But the big problem is the quality of the waste streams, because household waste is very likely to be polluted with all kinds of stuff. It could be plastic, it could be medicine, etc. And you actually cannot use this one-on-one in a black solidify farm, because the plastic will still be in the end product, or the toxic or chemical materials that you find in waste streams, waste as in disposed of by households, that it will still be there. So if you want to have a real good quality product based on organic materials, you will have to be sure that the quality of your stock, of your feed, is top notch. If we were talking about metals, you would not accept your iron or your copper to be contaminated with other stuff. I think that's the way we should look at organic streams as well. You need a specific type of organic resources to be able to produce your end product. And for black solid farms, it's very relevant that the flies and the larvae get the right food. They even talk about the menu, because there's seasons, right? You have the season of avocados and the season of mangoes, and the stuff that you feed to the flies impacts the quality of the end product. So, in my view, the availability of waste streams in general is not a problem at all. The big problem is how to make sure the quality is top notch.
Nice. So you bring a point there on availability of quality material, or let's say resource, as you call it. Now I want to skip over to Mukami, so you can pass the mic twice to get to Mukami. So the interesting thing about this panel is that they're hearing the question for the first time as you are. So then they're not. I mean, they're not too sure which question is going to hit them. So that's why I like us having this conversation here today. Mukami, I mean, he spoke about transition. I mean, with the name of the company, Akili Green, right? So it starts with the mind. So is there demand for such products in the market? For example, what you're producing as Regen Organic. And then the second layer of the question is, what would you say or consider as the bottlenecks from a legislation, regulation perspective that is hindering your company? Okay, let's use this as a case study so that we don't put you in trouble. SMEs transitioning or having this kind of products in the market.
Yeah, the market question is very interesting, because using organic waste in your farms is not a new concept. Like, people use manure in their farms. It's something that's already ingrained in terms of like how our farmers currently grow food. But then for you to sort of give them a commercially produced product, which is organic fertilizer, which meets certain quality thresholds, then you face the adoption problem. So the demand is there, but it is not attainable without creating your own market. So farmers are very risk averse. So you have to put in money to do things like demos and educate them, so that then you can tell them this is a difference between manure, or this is a complement to manure, and this is how it helps your soil. So there's a lot of investment that we have to put in to convince farmers that they can use these products, that they are good for their soils, and it's not a financial risk for them. And then in terms of barriers we're seeing, if we want to mainstream organic fertilizer in the same way things like synthetic fertilizer are mainstreamed, it means we have to put in, it has to come in through either policies or certain government programs, like we're seeing with the subsidy of synthetic fertilizer and all that. But for you to be able to convince the government to mainstream this, then you have to show a certain level of large-scale trialing with different value chains for different crops, different areas. And that to an SME is such a huge investment. So I would say that's the biggest barrier, is that we have to convince governments and policymakers that our product is actually good for the farmers, but they're not going to take my small data of like 30 farmers in Tharaka-Nithi. They want to see a certain scale that I just can't afford that I can't just afford to execute and collect data in a way that's convincing for them. So yeah, I would say that's the biggest one for us, just the cost of planning.
Yeah, that's interesting because everyone speaks about change of mindset, adopting new technology, innovation. But when it gets to you buying a product, I think something changes, right? We might be talking about, and Shah, I'm coming to you with the product that you're holding in your hand. I mean, when we say, I want to get coffee, right? So you have two options. One, make it at home, go with it. Actually, let me use three options. Option 2, carry your mug, go to a station, buy coffee, right? So they just refill it. Option 3, just walk into the shop and they give you the single-use packaging. Which one are you going to choose? 1, 2, or 3? Let's go with 1. Okay, 1 person. 2? 2 people. 3? Most of us. Because we like convenience, right? And actually say you've paid for it, so why do you need to be the one who is struggling, yet you're giving out the money? So how easy is it? We'll get back to you on the question on regulation. Let's get to Shah here. How easy is it for people to buy the packaging that you have in your hand? Of course, you talk about it's better than plastic, it's organic.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're also facing challenges into getting the product certifications and such like things. Talk to us about that a little bit.
Yeah, sure. So I think what customers are after is obviously quality. And what we've been able to do with this is make it even better than plastic, because you can put this in a microwave, you can put it in an oven, in the freezer, in the fridge. It works for hot food, stews, soups, and it's pet food as well. The Loop Pet Food over there is you'll see their pet treats in our punnets. So it's very versatile. So that is something we've been able to achieve. So quality is not an issue. Price. We are on average 4 shillings more than plastic. Okay. And so I think this is something we're never going to be able to match plastic. It's a completely different manufacturing process and so on. So I think this then comes down to legislation. And what we're finding is that in Kenya, people still have a choice, right? It's shifting in other countries, in Europe, in the UK, in India, in South Africa, Rwanda, where people don't have a choice anymore. So I think obviously quality and price are factors. Also, we talked about mindset, awareness amongst consumers of how plastic can be so toxic to human health, and how paying just a little bit more would go a long way to protecting the health of families and children. So I think it's a question of raising awareness about the benefits. It's about legislation, and it's about ensuring that, you know, over time, through economies of scale, you know, can we become a bit more competitive when it comes to pricing. But I am hoping that with time, our packaging will become mainstream, and it won't just be for companies that are ethical or consumers who, you know, want to make the right choice for the planet. I'm hoping that with time, that's my dream, that everything that you see in the supermarkets, from fruit to veg to baked goods to protein, will be packed in Greenstem's packaging, and Greenstem will become a household name.
We're looking forward to that, so that you become
Thank
a
you.
household name in Kenya. But I was within the discussions and the point that you raised. I think I saw Reinhard's hand going up. Just 1 minute. I was stuck on the point where he said Kenya still has options, and then I remembered there was a time we went to Denmark with Dr. Ayub with other sector players to benchmark in Denmark, and they still have the flat carrier bags, but you don't see it in the street. So I'm wondering, is it that we have the options? Or is it that we don't have infrastructure to deal with the waste?
Yeah, I think it's two things. I think that because there wasn't an alternative Because there wasn't an alternative until Green STEM came along for, to replace hard plastics, it was difficult for the government to just ban it outright, right? Because there is no other option. The only other option is paper-based packaging. And paper is, it has to be virgin wood pulp for it to be food grade. Then it needs to be lined with plastic to make it waterproof and oil and grease resistant and so on. At GreenStem, we invented our own bio-based coating, so we don't have to use any plastic, right? So paper-based packaging is not really an alternative. So now that GreenStem is here, I think we're at the point where we need to start engaging NEMA, and we need to engage the ministry. We need to get publicity around what we're doing so that gradually we can push the envelope and change legislation to completely eliminate hard plastics. We will be, like I said, we're already producing. We have the capacity to produce 2 million pieces a month, scaling up to 3 million. There's absolutely no need to use any plastic. We can produce enough to meet the entire needs of the country, right? And beyond. So I think that choice has to be eliminated with time.
Reinhard, you can pass the mic. I saw he was almost standing from his seat, so give us a contribution now.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm very eager to react on this. Of course, I agree that we need a mind shift in the population, etc. But we're here with an army of professionals, all representing companies and government bodies. So I think this is where the real change has to happen, not at consumer level. You cannot ask 50 or 60 million Kenyans to be responsible for plastic waste if the only option is to have coffee in a plastic tub. That doesn't work. I think you should not try to have a huge campaign to reach 50 million Kenyans. You should talk to Carrefour and Naivas to get rid of plastic in their shops and replace it with your product. Because it's called option selection, right? So if you have option as a consumer, you will eventually pick a good option, and especially if the government would be able to have the right incentives in place, so put a tax on plastics and not on organic products, that would really help. But please, let's not bother the consumer with all this. They need to feed their kids and try to cross the street without getting hurt in Nairobi, etc. So their mind is full of very relevant day-to-day issues. They do not think about plastic or organic products. That's our job. That's your job. That's what professionals should do.
Awesome. I like diverse thinking, and this is really important and rich in the discussion here. We don't want people to go. If you're going in a ditch, everyone follows. At least one person will survive, right? If we have diverse thinking. So pass the mic to Dr. Linda. I'm coming to you a little bit I'm looking at biofuel, right? I know you have elements of biochar, so soil additives. And I'm trying to test the thesis here. So the study that we conducted as Bopping saw that we have certifications and standard challenges for SMEs. So is it still the same case with you in terms of the products that you're coming up with? I'm finding it a challenge when you want to take it to the market to get the right standards to be able to sign up to, or when you want to get access to markets, getting a challenge also to get your products up to the standards of the market. Are you seeing any challenge? And if there's a challenge, what will be your recommendation?
Great. question. Yeah, fantastic. Look, I was so excited to see representatives from the government here because in Kenya, we are certainly in the clean cooking space. Let me speak about that. We have robust legislation and policy. Kenya, in case you're not aware, has a stated ambition for universal clean cooking for all Kenyans by 2030. That means every Kenyan would be able to have access to a clean cook stove using clean fuel. Specifically, the Kenya National Clean Cooking Transition Strategy states the following. 50% of Kenyans targeted for LPG. I presume most of the people in this room are already enjoying LPG. I'm going to challenge you. We're going to go home for Christmas into our villages. What are we cooking in the village? What are we using as a primary cooking fuel? I digress. 30% are targeted to use ethanol cooking fuel. 10% electricity for using, obviously, electric pressure cookers, etc. And the 10% biogas and other biomass, sustainably produced biomass fuels. So we already have this legislation. So to your specific question, because Kenya is so robust and very clear about this ambition, I already have the standard. I know exactly the standard of ethanol that I need to produce. KEBS and KIRDI and all our government organizations have already put this out. We already have the regulators on the ready. Funny enough, we do not have a dedicated ethanol cooking fuel or a fuel biorefinery in Kenya, but they're ready to regulate me, right? So long story short, your question, for our primary product, the market and ecosystem already exists. For our other products, for example, animal feed from the cassava peel. Remember I told you we're going to talk about the cassava slaughterhouse. So the animal feed, we do not have regulation for that. We do not have a standard for that. But we can work with formulators, who actually know what goes into feed, right? So other products, not so much, but I'm really, really proud of my country in terms of setting that ecosystem via an interministerial committee with the Ministry of Energy, Agriculture, NEMA, all those people. So maybe not the best person to answer this question. It's for me to execute. The regulators are ready.
Regulators are ready. Nice. Thank you so much, Linda. Pass the mic over to Dominic. So really interesting way you say, within your product that you have, there's one that is really clear. You have all the standards and regulations ready to go. Regulators are ready to regulate, but you don't have a plan, so investments are not in yet, right? What came to mind, Dominic, I was thinking, what would be the best solution for us to transition into waste to energy kind of valorization of waste, right? Would it be the community biogas plants? Would it be a centralized plant, let's say, in a village? Or would it be a national-wide plant that then distributes? Of course, that's a heavy investment, but looking at Kenya where you are, what will be your recommendation?
Coming from an environmental section, where what we're trying to do is we're trying to save the trees. We're trying to save the trees and clean the rivers. Those are our two missions. The people cutting down the trees, it's charcoal. That charcoal is coming into towns, all the towns. So the people in the rural areas that have got animals and livestock and everything, they have got the space. They can have a domestic biogas and then they are good to go. The people in town, especially in the low-income areas like the slums, that's where the charcoal is used. So we've gone the whole bottling route. We put gas in bottles and tried to transport it and what have you. There's a huge amount of regulation on that. A lot of it's very good because of safety standards, compressed gas and what have you. Just to give you a heads up, or a small insight, methane, or let me say LPG is bottled at about 30 to 40 PSI. It's about just slightly higher than the tire pressure of your car. Methane is bottled at 3,000 PSI. So it's 100 times higher. So it is a very, very expensive process. The cylinders are very, very heavy. They're very, very bulky. So it's not practical. By the time you bottle the gas, it costs about twice the price of LPG. So it's non-economically viable. But gas at low pressure means putting the digester exactly where the waste is and then pipe the gas directly into communal kitchens is very, very easy. So we have one in Isiolo set up already where we have a digester in a peri-urban area and it's piped to 4 houses. The only challenge we're facing right now is the billing. How do we charge the users? So we're talking to MGas who have that pay-as-you-go gadget on the top of cylinders. So you can buy tokens, literally, and your meter will come on for a certain number of time, the amount of gas you've bought. So if we can introduce that into the slums. Now, the slums don't have a lot of space for the big digesters, but we do have railways running through. So we talked to Kenya Railways about putting digesters within the corridors, the railway corridor, or over the drains, over the rivers. Most of the slums are on rivers, so you can put digesters over the rivers or even on platforms. And then pipe the gas to a radius, get the youth within that area, create a lot of employment, but they're the ones collecting the waste, owning the project and selling the gas. Once you have 6 or 7 mini grids set up, all those grids can be interconnected. So you've got security in terms of amount of gas, which also means that private biogas producers who are outside town and have got maybe a chicken farm has a huge amount of gas, doesn't know what to do with it, they can bring the gas in the compressed form and plug it into the grids. And now you have, a large scale plug-in, feed-in tariff. So you can get very, very big and go to the level of literally have piped methane in the slums, in high-rise blocks, everywhere. I think that's the way that we need to look at how to position biogas in mass consumption in the low-income areas.
So I noticed that we are not even midway our conversation, and we are almost getting to 30 minutes past 1 when we are supposed to go for lunch. Hopefully all of you can vote and say you're going to skip lunch. I will be happy, and then we'll continue the conversation. But in the meantime, let's pass the mic over to Benson there. Listening to Dominic in terms of how the SMEs operate, have you been working with some of the SMEs to support them in terms of getting awareness to regulations, legislations, certifications and standards? Because we also observed that awareness level when it's low, it does not provide the opportunity for SMEs to take advantage of what is there. Mostly when we talk about policy, we talk about barriers, right? But I was really happy to hear Dr. Linda talk about the enablers, right? Saying that there are certain policies that exist. It's only us who have not taken advantage of them. So where do you see us standing on this topic?
Thank you very much. As I mentioned about us working in partnership with the Regen Organics, which is the MSME that we work with in this project. But I will not really take it that direction in regards to Regen. Part of our project objective is to use the circular economy principles to leverage on the principles to address issues on environmental degradation, promote social equality, as well as economic development. So partly, as I mentioned, that we work with the informal waste pickers, and these waste pickers are in these for business, just as it has been mentioned here. So we've formalized them into groups, and these groups are formally registered as small business enterprises operating within the waste management value chain. So as a project, we are trying to influence policy, especially with the county government and the local NEMA offices, just to maximize on make more impact out of these groups using the limited resources through influencing some policy regulations that exist within Kakamega County. You find that like currently for these groups that are licensed, they are licensed to handle this waste, but directly dispose it off at the dump site that is called rosterman. But we've come in and put up some few holding areas or transfer stations that serve as sorting areas for these informal waste groups. And ideally, as it stands, they are not licensed to operate or have this waste segregated within the holding site. So those are some of the efforts we are putting in place to influence policy so that they are able to have a conducive working environment where they can make some profits out of this engagement.
Hey, someone decided to kill my mic, right? Are you telling me to sit down? Good. So pass the mic over to Mukami. Mukami, there was a question that you had not answered when Rudy interrupted before you finished your statement on regulations. So where do you see the challenges specifically for the products that you offer in regards to regulations? It could be from a holistic perspective in terms of SMEs in the sector, not necessarily region, because the conversation here is broadly on SMEs and not on region. We'll be having an opportunity for 2 questions from the attendees. So I will request for a roaming mic to go around. Yeah, proceed.
I clearly don't know how to use a mic. So some of the barriers is what I talked about, the high cost of testing, or rather what I consider high cost of proving that your product works and it is safe for consumption. That's one. Another thing is these standards don't exist. I remember before we got our KEBS certification for organic fertilizer, we actually had to sit in these technical groups, to some extent also assemble them, and that's because we had some resources to do that. So you can imagine a really small SME that doesn't have the kind of financing that's required to even get the audience of these sort of KEBS technical teams. So cost of testing to prove, as well as cost of actually gathering the players in so that you can define these standards, is a big one. And then there's also what I consider as a myopic view of what the standard should be. So there's only one standard and you have to meet it regardless of whether you're producing organic fertilizer from sanitation waste, whether you're producing organic fertilizer from food waste, and all these things have different, because it's different inputs, you also expect the outputs to be a bit different. And when you give a very narrow scope of what the quality metrics should be based on very archaic way of thinking, it's not even about the product safety. It's just, this is defined as the range of carbon it should have, the range of nitrogen it should have, regardless of what the inputs are. Then it means you squeeze out so many small businesses that don't have the resources to sit at the table and challenge these standards. So yeah, I would say those are the 3 big ones.
Okay, good. So I've been told that you can actually scan on your right. There's a QR code you can scan and actually give your feedback there or your questions. So do that now in the next 3 minutes. Let's go back to Anita. So, just following up on the question that I asked her, do you see also challenges? Okay, so you ideally spoke about your product, and also you spoke about quality, right? And I was thinking, when people are transitioning from the single-use plastic straw, there was a paper straw, and the straw was collapsing. So people moved away from it, went back to plastic, and now I see metal straws. You spoke about quality. What have you done to your packaging so that it doesn't collapse?
Yeah, okay. I'll try and be brief because I don't want to be the one that stands between people and lunch.
We still have time for you.
Okay, so we have our food safety and quality team leader somewhere in the crowd. Ruth, maybe you can wave. So we've gone to great lengths to ensure that the packaging can withstand, like I said, high temperatures in an oven, up to 190 degrees for an hour, in the microwave, freezer conditions. And it's oil and grease resistant. And we're constantly innovating and improving our coating. I think one of the big advantages was that when I started out, obviously I emptied my bank account, bought a very small machine and started, very small. But what I did have was the support of end users. So the big horticulture companies, a lot of restaurants, etc., said, we're going to help you to co-develop this product so that it meets international standards in terms of functionality, right, and quality. So I was very lucky in that sense. And we then, we got our KEBs. We then had it SGS tested for all kinds of things, water resistance, grease resistance, change in taste and smell, so the sensory, heavy metals, pesticide contamination from the organic waste streams. We had it tested for all kinds of things, and we passed all the tests at international level. We then had a British Retail Consortium audit, which is the world's gold standard when it comes to food safety and food packaging. It's one of the most difficult audits to pass, and we passed that last year. We're doing the next one next March. So I think that we have now got to a point where we are really trying to embed the hygiene, the food safety, the quality standards within our plant and ensure that we maintain those standards, right? So that recertification is always easy, and that we are constantly listening to feedback from customers. If a customer comes back and says, oh, there was a grease patch on this, we are very quick to respond, tweak our coating or tweak something in our process. Yeah, because it's a very complex process. We are basically taking this raw material. You talked about ensuring raw material quality, right? So it has to be a certain moisture content. There can be no, traces of metals or plastics or anything in it, right? So clean wheat straw bagasse needs to be cooked. Then it needs to be washed. Then it needs to be screened again. And any small, it's called stone dust, needs to be removed. Then it goes through the thermoforming process at very high temperatures, right? And then after that, we have to spray it with the coating. We have to dry it. We have to put it through a UV sterilizer. So there's so many processes in this whole complex manufacturing chain. And we've tried to do it all in a way that's very clean, green, and circular, right? So I think it's really about adhering to those standards. In summary, adhering to standards. 2, responding very quickly to customer feedback and solving any issues that they have. And 3, we've already done this, co-creating the product with the end user so that it meets their demands, but continuing to do that for all future innovation. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Anita. So I've been told that there was an error with the QR code. Sorry, I was looking and I was wondering why are people not asking questions. So please scan it again and give feedback and questions there. I'm still looking at the platform there to see if there are responses. I see already 3 responses now. So continue writing your questions. So let me go to Red Hat. We've been talking about quality, we've been talking about standards, products. What do you see as the next steps for Kenya in terms of changing from waste to value within the organic waste stream?
What would be the next step? I think Kenya is well positioned, of course, because it has a large agricultural sector and so a lot of organic waste streams. I think the real issue is not technology or standards or legislation even. The real challenge will be to organize this well professionally, not just a little community here and a small project there and some subsidy from the Netherlands or Denmark and that's it. Now I think the real challenge will be in scaling up, and this needs professionals like you. And also, do not afraid to make money. It's because organic waste is valuable, and people are willing to pay for good products in general. Also, check out stuff like carbon credits. It's an additional income stream that could help you, because reducing climate change is not just valuable for Kenya. It's as equally valuable for rich people in rich countries. So let them pay for it. I think that will be the real challenge, Amadi, to make it work, to organize it, and to make it financially viable.
That sounds good. So I was just reading the questions, and I was laughing to myself. So Christine Ndiritu says, what will it really take to shift the Kenyan mentality on consumerism, on circular economy products? I think you touched on it a little bit. Then we have another question saying, very exciting. Okay, it's updating. Very exciting panelists. Oh, goodness. They're coming in really quick. Yes, I have to keep going. Goodness. Okay. Let me just try and get one. I'm so sorry. Some of them are just appreciating that it's a rich panel, and we are happy to see all of you discussing. But there was a question where they were talking about you're focusing on valorization of waste and not focusing on reducing the food waste. Dr. Linda. This is, I think our business model is structured in a way that we are anticipating, as I said, waste is available. But now the other question is, how do we ensure that we reduce on the waste that's coming? Yeah, you'll also contribute to that.
That's an interesting point. I work with a colleague who is the founder of an organization called Farm to Feed. And when I listen to her speak, she states the following, which really puts shivers down my spine. That 50% of what we produce goes to waste from the farm. And what her organization does is she buys the whole harvest. So when we ask, why does it go to waste? Obviously, there's supply chain issues. But essentially, they say it's because it's misshapen. Like the carrot doesn't look quite right, the potato doesn't look quite right, and matters like that. So her program innovates to get the whole waste, the whole harvest, not waste, the whole harvest, and then she adds value in making baby food, which is pureed, or tomato paste for bulk use for restaurants and schools and things like that, which doesn't require a cute-looking carrot, a cute-looking potato. So it's interesting that we're innovating around that. But as far as reducing food waste, my answer is the same. Change your mindset. So what if the orange looks funny, right? It's still going to taste like an orange, right? So it comes back to us. When I go to Naivas Carrefour, I want everything looking pretty. But I hope today you can figure out and say, for me to get this pretty-looking banana, how much has been rejected and left on the farm of a poor farmer, right? Who probably gets, cents on the 100 shillings for the work that she's done. And I'm saying she, right? So for the cute banana, she's left with maybe 10 ugly bananas, right? So some kind of way we can think about, shopping at your local market, for instance, and really looking at the product that has come, recognizing that the inputs that has gone in to produce that ugly looking fruit, still has to be captured. That value has to be captured somewhere, and we can capture that with the way we think about product. So hopefully we reduce from that perspective by using all that we produce. And most importantly, if we distribute the products well, no Kenyan needs to go hungry. Right? I was reading the paper today, 2.1 million Kenyans are facing food insecurity in 2026. That shouldn't have to happen if some of us can consume responsibly.
No, it's interesting. I think I picked a number of things. So you spoke about storage for future use. You can pass the mic to Dominic. Thanks, Dr. Linda. You spoke about, I looked at Dominic and then I forgot. You spoke about storage. There's something else you spoke about. Value addition. Yes, so we're able to reduce the waste. And the interesting questions that are coming in as you're going to be addressing that. Someone also asked, how are you dealing with the county government dynamics? In a very short. So answer the other, contribute to this one, and then answer the following question as well.
So you're correct. There is 50 to 60% of what we produce, especially in the fruits and vegetables, go to waste. And it's primarily because the the brokers that bring the produce from the farm, they only take grade 1. They will leave everything else behind. Number 2, when it gets to the marketplace, the traders, the consumers only take the best quality. So even in the market, there is a huge amount of waste. I would say in the market itself, at least 30 to 40% of the waste goes to of the products that come in go to waste just because of the overproduction. During the mango season, for instance, there just aren't enough mouths to eat that number of mangoes. During the avocado season, the same. When it rains, everybody plants the same thing. Tomatoes, there are far too many tomatoes to eat. Skuma, cabbages. You've seen oranges, lorry loads on the roadside because the price crashed because there was an oversupply. So they just dump them on the roadside and go back for something else. So it's not so much the consumers have to eat more. It's more is how can we preserve the food? So this is where biogas comes into it. We're developing drying machines for drying at the marketplaces. We're also trying to put together value addition hubs at the farmer level, so that if a farmer is, most farmers produce a lot more than just coffee or just macadamia nuts or just milk. So if you have a value addition hub within that community, it can be like a SACCO or like a cooperative, then everything can be brought there. Everything they produce can be brought there, value added, get the KEB certificate, get the, you still use the same brokers. The brokers will still be engaged now to take it to supermarkets rather than to marketplaces. And so there is a way of reducing the post-harvest losses by value adding. The key most important component to value addition is energy. And that's where the biogas comes in. Biogas and solar come in. On the question of counties, the way we deal with the counties, or what I would say organically grown, is that when the counties now approach us, we have a space for waste agreement. So they will give us the space if we'll manage their waste. There's no, we don't have any private partner PPPs or anything like that. There's an MOU with the county itself, and then another MOU with the municipalities. And it is really a trade-off, waste for space. So that's how we deal with the counties.
Okay, good. I was just reading some of the our MC today came to threaten me, but I was trying to negotiate to get 5 minutes extra. But we'll be leaving the stage quite in a few. But I just want to highlight some of the questions, though we're not going to answer them. Just to highlight, I think we'll also push this over to you. You can give us some feedback, and then we'll throw it back to the participants. Someone was asking, can you rewash, reuse your product? You don't have to answer now. Pricing, average Kenyan makes 100 shillings a day. So how is it sustainable? So that's the question they're asking. And someone else is asking, if human waste is lucrative in a manner that we say it is, when should our main focus be? Reduce human waste or get various ways to manage? So they're looking at, is it lucrative? But I know, you actually said the calorific value of human waste is quite low. Cow dung is also low, so not so much potential there, but a potential from your side, of course. Some of them are appreciating the panel. I saw some of them were using ChatGPT, so I say this is a rephrased question for everyone. So that's how the statement was getting really interesting. Someone else is saying, do we feel the regulations will eventually support circular products without too much politics? Okay. Are there major steps that the government are taking to convert the waste, now resource, to areas like Buruburu dump sites? So interesting questions there as well. For Anita, you mentioned spraying UV coating on the material. Which products do you use to achieve these properties in your product? Regen, how would you recommend, what would you recommend for SMEs to break even? Really interesting questions. Some of them just appreciating the panel, and I see most of them are enjoying the session. So really good. Hopefully they also enjoy the lunch that we're going to partake in a few minutes. But in 10 seconds, so don't cross 10 seconds, your parting shot. Where's the mic? Let's start from Dominic coming this way. Parting shot, 10 seconds.
10 seconds. I would say that wherever there is humans, there is water. Wherever there's water, there is something will grow, and that is where you have energy. The most important one is teach a child how to cook with biogas, and he'll never cook with firewood or charcoal. And so that is a way of changing the future by switching to clean energy with children today.
Oh, for me, I think considering that waste is an individual's responsibility, I would wish that when we leave this conference, then let's influence the mindset towards circularity.
Yeah, I do not think waste is an individual responsibility. I think it's a corporate one. Companies and governments really have to focus on finding solutions. And again, I think I'll conclude where I started. Let's not talk about waste streams. Let's talk about vast streams of free resources. Free, cheap, available at least.
I am excited about the circularity of Giraffe Bioenergy, and not so much on the organic side, on the money side. Every panelist here have talked about the economic value of the resource. So what we're excited about is we will be replacing 50% of ethanol that currently is imported from the global markets. That is foreign exchange going out to make other farmers rich in the US, India, Brazil, which is where ethanol is imported. So I'm so excited about closing that loop, making our own fuel, using our own agriculture, and keeping that money in country while lifting livelihoods. That's the circularity I'm excited about.
Tough act to follow. But similar to Dr. Davis, waste is a viable business with a much stronger business case than we currently perceive.
Thanks. I think it's about corporates, I think it's about government, and I think it's about individuals. And I think that we need to be the change that we want to see in the world. And if we're only going to be chasing survival and not think about the planet, we're not going to survive anyway, because there'll be no planet to sustain us. So let's be the change that we want to see in the world, and let's think people, planet, and profit. Thank you.
Thank you so much. A round of applause to the panelists. Thank you so much, Dominic, Benson, Reinhard, Dr. Davis, Mukami, and Shah. A round of applause, please. And thank you to you as well for, staying with us during this time to have this conversation. So keep the questions coming. We'll be able to tackle them, though we'll send it to them. They'll answer, and then we'll send it over to you. Enjoy your lunch, and let's continue networking. You can be able to meet them over lunch and have conversations. We'll take a picture with the panelists for a minute there. Yeah.